So the other day I was taking a walk and it was cold. There's about a foot of snow on the ground and I thought I heard some birds chirping. And so I said to myself, it's just your coat rubbing something or it's your imagination. And I kept walking and I heard the chirping again. So I thought, okay, just stop for a minute. And it was birds chirping, not blackbirds or robins. They were birds and they were flying. And I thought, how is this possible? What do they know? How do they know? Here I am, under 3 layers of clothes trying to take this walk. And they're like, oh, it's beautiful. And it reminded me of what we've been talking about. Last week we were talking about thresholds and new beginnings. And how when you're at a threshold and change is taking place, we may not have even been aware of it. I think about Mother Nature as this great example of being at thresholds and of change. If we really think about it, when spring happens, we really get the middle of the spring because the beginning of the spring is happening during winter. The beginning of spring is sprouting underneath all that snow and cold earth. There is a seed that is coming to life and it is gathering roots and germinating and is asking, what color shall I be? How tall shall I grow? All this is happening without us even knowing it. When we get excited, when we finally see the green of spring, it's already been happening. And I wonder what changes are going on in our lives that we're not aware of. The energy of life takes us in so many different directions. But I like what this book is saying, and I'm still reading the book by John O'Donohue, To Bless the Space Between Us. And I like what he says. The rhythm of emergence is a gradual slow beat, always inching its way forward. It is there before we see it, and then we can look nowhere without seeing it. Like spring, right? Before you know it, it's everywhere. And that's change. That's being at the threshold. That's standing on this new ground. I don't know why it always seems to catch us aware, even though we've been doing the homework. We've been digging deep. We've been aligning our intentions with the universe. We've been feeding ourselves whatever spiritual need that we have, whatever emotional need that we have. We've been feeling it with goodness and kindness and love and compassion. Of course, it's going to sprout into something beautiful. We have to embrace this emergence, this beat, listen for it. I love what he further says about this emergence. He says, to sense and trust this primeval acceptance opens a vast spring of trust within the heart. And I think I may have said this before. Trusting and accepting your change, being at the threshold, that's a spring of hope and love coming from your heart. And I just want to end this Greenlight Your Day with a poem. And it's called For the Traveler, because I think we all travel in our lives on many times and many occasions, and I think it's a great thing. It's an exciting thing. So I'm going to read some of the poem. I'm not going to read all of that because it's a rather long poem. For the Traveler. Every time you leave home, another road takes you into a world you were never in. When you travel, you find yourself alone in a different way, more attentive now to the self you bring along. Your more subtle eye watching you abroad, and how what meets you touches that part of the heart that lies low at home. When you travel, a new silence goes with you, and if you listen, you will hear what your heart would love to say. A journey can become a sacred thing, Make sure before you go to take the time to bless your going forth, to free your heart of ballast, so that the compass of your soul might direct you toward the territories of spirit, where you will discover more of your hidden life and the urgencies that deserve to claim you. May you travel in an awakened way, gathered wisely into your inner ground, that you may not waste the invitations which wait along the way to transform you. May you travel safely, arrive refreshed, and live your time away to its fullest. Return home more enriched and free to balance the gifts of days which call you. A blessing for the traveler.